I think it comes from the band and the familiarity within the building. And I always, you've heard me talk a lot about those Georgia guys on the other side of the ball and how familiar they are with one another. And I think they bring a special energy to the defense and to the team. Um, and you see it out there today. All those guys making plays, defense playing lights out, defense playing lights out. Um, One of the best performances I've ever seen. So, um, really big time game on that side of the ball. To be able to do what they did on fourth down against a really good offense, a potent offense that's capable of doing really special things, and I have a lot of respect for that.
Is that part of Nick's messaging? No focusing on the turnover, winning the turnover battle, and not trying to do too much outside, your job. Is that messaging relayed in winning these types of games, these gritty games?
That's always a philosophical staple in what he believes. It's always been that. It's been that over the years, and we've lost some games when we've lost the turnover battle. Some games have been closer than what they've needed to be because of that. But usually, you look at that as one of the key factors, and it's held true.
Hutchinson said this week that he had this game, the Lions had this game circled on their calendar for a while. Last week, a couple of the Packers said, like, jokingly, they need to get their lick back. Do you feel like teams are giving you their best shot just because of what you guys have accomplished?
Absolutely, absolutely. And what more do you expect? That's exactly how it's going to be. It's when you accomplish the things that you've accomplished, everybody wants to take your place, and we just got to continue to improve so we can maintain where we are.
AJ had 11 targets tonight. Was there more conscious effort maybe to get him involved early and keep trying to feed him the football?
Yeah, just going with the flow of the game and how it was called and trying to go out there and execute.
So there wasn't like effort to get him the football?
That may be a KP question.
With all the passes defended by the defense on the line, just from a quarterback's perspective, how does that disrupt an offense and how demoralizing can that be personally?
Say that again?
With all the passes defended by Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, just from a quarterback's perspective, how disruptive can that be?
Very disruptive, and it's something that you see them do often in practice. They're very skillful. They kind of got a knack for when the rushes kind of come to a halt and being able to jump up and time it up and make a play on the ball. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jalen Carter catches one of them here soon.
You talked about, the defense trying to have the knack of finding a way to win. You've kind of done that yourself with this offense during your time. Do you think that they pull that energy in from you as well?
That's not something that I could take ownership for. I just try and, lead with an example and bring a certain level of energy to it. But it's just a mentality thing, and I think you have to have a level of grittiness to see things through and figure things out. And in a game like tonight, they played lights out and they held things down. So we just got to continue to improve so we can elevate the level of complementary football we play. When I look at 5 stops on fourth down, as an offense, we've got to be able to capitalize on some of those on all of those opportunities in short fields and when the defense is playing like that. So that's an area of growth for us.
Jalen, they were really good defending the tush push tonight. Not perfect, obviously, but they had a little more success on it than most of your guys' mindset. Are you guys finding generally more difficult to run the play, or were they doing something tonight that made it a little more challenging?
Nah, I have to watch the film and really be able to answer that question. But I got to get a good push off the ball and got to drive a bit. And they're honing in on it. Very strict on the guard and the center and how they operate, and they got their eyes on it. So we just got to be as clean as possible and then go out there and find ways to convert it.
What are your main takeaways from the offensive performance tonight?
My main takeaways is we got to score points. We got to be more efficient. We got to take advantage of opportunities when they're there, and we got to control the things that we can control. It's the same MO it's been this whole entire time.
Jalen,
How much do you feel like the last 2 weeks struggles on offense have been about the defense you've been facing, and how much have been about you guys yourselves?
Always going to give a lot of respect to the opponent we play. It's always going to come down to us and what we do. And so we have to do a bit of identifying of who we are so we can find consistency in something and go out there and execute at a high level. You know, I think there's a lot of encouragement coming into the bye week on where we were, still with a ton of room to improve. But you know what I feel about momentum. You know, it can begin and end at any moment. But as I told you guys last week, it's a half full or half empty. And, you know, everybody's got to be all hands on deck and trying to improve that. You know, nothing takes over the precedent of winning. That's what it's all about. And with winning in mind and with winning being the number one thing, that doesn't dismiss that, you know, we got some work to do, and we need to improve. So it's a collective, takes everybody being on the same page, takes everybody being truly committed to winning and winning itself and not being any buts behind it.
Yeah, we can take two more.
Playoff caliber opponents, playoff type atmospheres. Did you read into that when you were able to win in these settings?
Absolutely. Not necessarily reading into it, but it's something that you feel. It's something you sense from as a team that you're being tested on these things. And so, you know, how we went out there and found a way to win, a lot of those games are like that. And I think the most important thing is just staying together throughout the journey of it.
Last one.
Jalen, your team is 6-1, I think, against playoff teams from last year. To be 8-2 at this point, given the strength of the schedule, what does that mean to you? And
Talking about like the level of competition we played.
I mean, you played 7 teams that were in the playoffs last year, and you're 6-1 against them. I mean, does it inspire more confidence in what this team is doing, or what does it mean to be 8-2, given that schedule?
I think it could, you know, being you know, considering that you face some really good opponents and you know what they're capable of on that side of the ball. I think in the end it's always gonna come down to what do you do, and holding yourself to a standard and, you know, looking yourself in the mirror on those things. So it all starts internal. And that's every individual themselves, and then that's as a team collectively. So I don't want to make it too much about the opponent. We just have to look in and grow ourselves.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you.